Hey guys, Lou here. Welcome back to ACORN Hill. It is heating up here in central North Carolina, and today, this afternoon, with high humidity, I waited for this evening to show you an impromptu video on how I really prune evergreens, be it those that I planted out in the landscape and those that I planted as containers in a DIY container project. Now, before I move on with this project, just a quick shout out to all you all out there. Thank you for being a part of our channel. You are the lifeblood and the fuel that allows this channel to really move on and move forward. And I really appreciate you for all the times that you have commented and shared our videos and liked our videos throughout this almost 1 year of us being on YouTube. Alright, now on to today's video. This project is a follow-up on the planting project that I did not too long ago. This was a topiary hedge that I planted made out of 3 individual eugenias. I planted them right next to each other and I started forming a mini hedge of sorts with 2 levels that I planted in an oval container that I also plunked into one of our antique resin containers. After several weeks of planting them in the container, the plants have rooted, they are now alive and healthy, and have produced a lot of foliage that now for the first time I will show you how I will prune and shape this hedge and form it into a nice, tight, double layer, double level rectangular topiary. And as always, right tool for the right job. What I'm showing you in this clip is my tool of choice, a solid steel forged long pruning scissors. I prefer this type of pruners, secateurs, or any pruning scissors because of the unit's traditional vintage style pruning shape. It is also offset, so you can see that the blade is not level right there. It's not level with my hands. It is offset to about an inch and a quarter. It only has 1 screw that holds both blades that are about 6.5 to 7 inches long. There is that one industrial spring that control the whipping action and the scissoring action of the blades. For me, it is the simpler the equipment, the simpler the gadget, the better it is for me to maneuver and work with. Just on a side note, and please pardon me for mentioning this, but one of our viewers and a friend of the channel was asking me on the comment section in one of the previous videos what my preferred equipments are because he's about to start his garden. Well, this type of offset pruning scissors is one of my essential tools, so just wanted to put that out there. Alright guys, here we go. Pretty much it is straightforward. What I wanted to create here is 2 rectangular blocks, one on top of the other with a gap in between. Now, I'm just playing around with the growth and the amount of foliage that I have on this project, and it's easy for me to eyeball it because the beauty of having this type of topiary is it's up to you guys. It's up to us. Whatever shape we want, we may want a sharp rectangular blocks, or we want something beveled and smoother and softer along the edges. Again, the sky's the limit with this type of project. So what I'm doing here, I am just gently gliding that blade, whipping the blade across to cut little by little. I'm not doing a hard cut whatsoever. There is one cardinal rule with the seasonal pruning with any hedge, any topiary, or any evergreen that one wants to shape. You prune hard in the winter, and that will allow the plant to have vigorous growth and give you a flush of foliage and growth. And you prune lightly in the summer. This is to stop the growth because you have all this foliage that have developed between early spring over onto summertime that now you have to deal with all of these extra growth. And this is what we will do to prune it lightly to shape and tidy up the plant. Here's a top view of this project as I start eyeballing and cutting the edges of this rectangular block that I'm trying to shape. From the top, you can see that I'm trying to form a nice, clean, straight cut along this plane so that both individual rectangular blocks would be at least almost aligned if you look at it from the top. I'll also do this on the edges, the side of the rectangle, but this long side of the rectangle is what I am trying to shape at the moment. You can see that with sharp blades, the cut is clean. There are no jagged edges and no frayed cuts along the leaves and along the branches, those little tender branches. And that's important because the cleaner the cut, the less likely the plant will suffer from any dieback or any disease that might infiltrate and live along those jagged cuts that a poorly sharpened blade might do. Can't stress it enough. The sharper the blade, not only does it feel better when you're swishing and cutting across that leaf, it keeps the plant healthy, and that's what the plant desires. Okay, that was the first pass. That's to initially create that shape and start trimming up and tightening up the edges and the shape of the rectangular blocks. The next thing that I will do is eyeball it. I tend to step away, look at what other areas and what other little nooks and crannies needed to be smoothed out and cut across, and this is what I'm doing here. And here's another tip. Topiary, forming individual living plants into different shapes. For me, the actual cutting it and shaping it is the fun part. And so I take my time. I step away, I step back, I check and double check any minute areas. Those details that need to be either cut a little bit bigger, cut a little smaller. You get the idea. Taking your time in doing this traditional art form of cutting back and shaping plants, that's the essence of topiary in my opinion. Alright, now it's time for me to make that first pass underneath the bottom of the top rectangular block. This again is to create that sharp demarcation gap between the top and the bottom growth. After making that initial pass on the bottom of the rectangular growth, it was time for me to start doing the first pass on top of the bottom rectangular growth. And much like before, I took my time. I started cutting little by little. I stood up, stepped back, looked at the symmetry and the balance between the top and the bottom rectangular blocks. Started looking now at those extra areas that tilting the shape of both hedges, the top and the bottom. The top was shaggy, so it's time for me to give a good full cut right on top of this eugenia hedge. And there you have it, guys, a very simple, straightforward way on how to keep summer pruning any small topiaries. You can apply the same principle on espaliers, any bigger topiaries that you may have in your pots or you may have planted in your landscape. This was a fun project for me and an impromptu time that I wanted to just hang out with you guys. I hope you all are keeping safe and keeping healthy during these times. Topiaries are the easy project to have. I only grew this within 2 months and look at where we're at. And so I highly recommend that you consider doing this if you haven't had any topiary projects done yet. If you have topiary experiences and any tips that you can provide, not only me but also our other viewers, go on ahead and write on our comment section and give us a shout out. Let us know how your topiary projects are coming along. Oh, and one more quick thing, guys. What do I do after I have completed shaping any topiary and shaping this topiary project? What I did was I watered this very thoroughly, and I watered it with a very weak concentration of high nitrogen, just an all-purpose liquid fertilizer that has a little bit more of the nitrogen number, the first number on the NPK triple digit combination. I prepared the mixture with a ratio of less than half a teaspoon to 1 gallon of water, and that's what I use to water the leaves and water the planting pot that it's in. That's just to give it a little boost because cutting and pruning kind of stressed the plant a little bit, and so it needed a little nutrition from all this routine that we did. And typically, in my experience, in about 5 days this plant will bounce back. So, okie dokie guys, this is it for me. I hope to see you back soon in the next video. This is your presenter and friend Louie, and we'll see you back here in Acorn Hill. Bye-bye for now.